rejected the #1 CS university in the world, Carnegie Mellon University.
Let me give you some background information first. So, basic information, I had two options, or my top two choices was #1, CMU, Carnegie Mellon, for computational finance with a minor in CS. And you know, CMU is #1 in CS in the world, so pretty tempting. Then #2, the second option, which is really close to home, is University of Toronto Rotman Commerce. And I'm planning to specialize in finance and economics with a focus in data science. So here is the breakdown in terms of how much it is for tuition-wise. So for UFT, which is University of Toronto, for 4 years accumulative, it is $63,206.56 Canadian dollars. And of course, this really depends on where you live, residence, or what college you're in, but this is just the average. Similarly to CMU, Carnegie Mellon, for all 4 years, that would be, this is a lie, $347,248 USD. So if we convert that USD to Canadian, that is $468,767.44. Yeah. So I did a quick math for you. That is 7.42 times more expensive than UFT. So that kind of leads me to my reason #1, why I decided to reject CMU. So reason #1 is tuition money and also scholarship. So as you know, I'm Canadian, so UFT, I live in Toronto, so I am considered a domestic student. Versus CMU, I am Canadian, which means I am an international student. And you know how international students, you gotta pay a lot. So in terms of tuition wise, of course, UFT wins. Also for scholarships, UFT did give me a lot more scholarship money, which is thank you, but CMU unfortunately did not give me anything. So in terms of that, UFT also wins. Kind of just Googled this. So once you graduate from Rotman, you make around, like we're saying undergrad for this, you make around 70K, which is $70,000 Canadian per year. Meanwhile, CMU is 92K USD. So if we convert USD to Canadian, that is $124,187.55. So that is around 1.77 times more than I make at Rotman. However, there's a tuition difference, right? As you can see, as an international student, I have to pay so much more compared to UFT. So the tuition difference is $405,560.88 Canadian. And the wage difference, which is what I just stated, that difference is $54,187.55 Canadian. Which means, if you do the calculation, that for UFT tuition, it takes me 0.9 years, so close to 1 year, to pay off all 4 years of my tuition. And I'm not, including, rent or food or anything, just purely with the wage and the tuition. So similarly, if we apply this logic and just admitting rent or whatever, and we say CMU, it takes me 3.77 years, so almost 4 years to pay off 4 years of tuition at CMU. So in terms of the leftover years times the wage that I make at Rotman, I actually get an addition of $201,227.14 Canadian extra, if you can click that. And that was my logic when I made my decision. So yeah, so that's reason #1. Reason #2. In terms of geography, jobs, and friends. So as you know, UFT, it is at downtown Toronto. That's the heart of Toronto. That's where the jobs are at. Basically, busy economy. Meanwhile, CMU, I don't know, man. I think maybe it's because I didn't do enough research, but from my knowledge, it seems like a random place in a random area in a random state. Okay, not random state, but I don't know, I don't think there's as many job opportunities as Toronto. And also in terms of friends, I already have quote unquote a network, and because I'm doing business, you kind of need networking and connections. And if I start off in a completely new area, then I kind of lose that connection, if you know what I mean. So in terms of that, I kind of chose UFT. So UFT also won in this sense. Okay, #3. This one, it's more internal than external. You can't really value it, for example, tuition or even location-wise in terms of job opportunities. #3, it's more just me in terms of mindset and mental health. So I know for both universities, especially, actually no, for both, U of T is known as U of Tears because it is kind of depressing, like the school. I mean, it's not depressing, like right now I'm at U of T, this is dorm, but it's, the work is harder, it is a lot of workload. And for CMU, it's also the same, except it's a lot more competitive, a lot more stressful. Everyone's depressed. And the reason why I knew this was I entered the Discord server for CMU, like class of 2028, and I was actually messaging one of the alumni or the second years, third years asking about, the environment at CMU. And they said that if you work really, really hard, then of course you could be very successful, but at what cost their mental health? As in, a lot of people get depressed. Like, it's a super common thing. And I was like, you know what? I don't think it's worth it. Like, I don't want to, I think I'm mentally vulnerable. So I don't want to be depressed, like, just to earn, like, an extra, I don't know, like 20K a year, I feel like that's personally not worth it for me. That's just my opinion. So that's the reason why U of T won again. So out of the 3 rounds, in terms of number 1, tuition, number 2, location wise, and number 3 for mindset or mental health, I think U of T won in this sense for all 3 rounds. So yeah, that's the reason why I rejected CMU and chose U of T as my university.